Welcome to Not Near Mint, everybody. My name's Rob Wurst. Tonight, we have a very special episode for you because tonight's episode is all about what comic book genre properly defines you. You might be into comic books that have superheroes. Maybe not. Perhaps you might like crime or horror or fantasy or some lighthearted comedy, perhaps. We're going to be helping you out later on in the broadcast, but today is, after all, New Comic Book Wednesday. So how about we go ahead and say hi to the rest of the Not Near Mint cast. First, we start with the one, the only, Lady Fantastic.
Hey!
Hey, lady.
Hey!
And we also have joining us live, it is Miracleman.
Hey guys, how you doing tonight?
I can't complain. I mean, we can all kind of complain. After all, before we went on to broadcast tonight, we just got news that, Tom Hanks and Rita Wilson have coronavirus. The NBA's is canceled for the rest of the season. Not only that, we're having conventions pulling out sponsors. We're having entire companies say, hey, none of our artists or writers are showing up. Miracleman even had something that he told me right before broadcast that happened up in his neck of the woods. Why don't you tell us what's going on, Miracleman?
Oh, yeah. So there's a con I go to every year. It's one of my favorite cons. It's Ithaca Con. It's real tiny. It's only a couple-hour drive. So I visit that one every year. And one of the reasons I normally visit it is because it's a real cheap con, and there's always a ton of comics and creators at that con. This one was actually supposed to have the Ahoy Comics team, Tom Payer, who's the editor-in-chief, Hart Seeley, who's the publisher, and superstar artist Jamal Eagle. And I'm sorry, Jamal, if I said your name wrong. But unfortunately, due to COVID-19 concerns, that con has been canceled for the year.
So not even a postponement. It's going to be just altogether canceled. Not, hey, maybe in a month, maybe 2 months, because we still have Ultra Music Festival down here where they're saying it's just postponed. It could still happen later. Good luck trying to get all that talent that you've secured for at least about a good year or so beforehand to go, hey, I know we kind of canceled this spur of the minute. You think you can show back up in about 2 months before they all just collectively go, oh, wait, you were serious.
Yeah, it's a shame. It's a shame. All these things getting canceled. We're going to miss out on all these opportunities to see these creators. But you know what? Right back to your rule number one, Rob. Don't die. Yeah. So, if that's what they got to do to help stop the spread of a deadly disease, then, do it.
Yep. After all, I do have something that I do every week, some of our breaking news. And my breaking news for this week is stock up on bags and boards, because if things are shutting down, it's not going to be easy to procure those little things that are usually made in other countries. So bags, boards, stock up on those now.
Insulin.
I'm going to just throw this out there. So the worst top 5 for the week of March 11, 2020 is still the main 2 that everyone's still looking for, that Hell Arisen 3 and the Batman 89. We all know about Punchline, or actually we don't know much about Punchline. We don't know anything at all. But you can go to other channels to figure out all that. Uncanny X-Men 166 is the first Lockheed. Star Wars Tales number 24 is the first Darth Nihilus. People are looking for that. People are really paying through the nose, $20 and up. And lastly, Batman 38. I did bring up last week about Batman 38 possibly being Punchline. I heard that from somebody else on Instagram. It is information that is unsubstantiated, so don't go paying a lot of money for this Batman 38. Now we have a new rumor going around saying that Batman 38, Matthew Warner, could potentially be the designer. Okay, so somebody that has just come about out of thin air, has developed a reputation for being the biggest and the best criminal ever, and he's probably, like a teenager now? Batman's operating for... it's a mind screw. So
Man.
don't put all your eggs in one basket on Batman 38. So that is your worst top 5 of the week. Now back to everything that we usually do from week in, week out, our hauls, comic books for New Comic Wednesday. And we're going to go around the room and just ask, hey, what did y'all get? Who wants to go first? Lady Fantastic? Miracleman?
Oh, ladies first, please.
All right.
Of course.
So what I'm going to show you, I'm going to show you some things that are more recent that I got. All right, let's just kind of like break it up. So here's some fun stuff that I found when I was just digging through bins. Okay, and I hope Miracleman, you'll appreciate this. Defenders of Dynatron City.
Oh, gorgeous.
#1, based on a fantasy, a hero fantasy from LucasArts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a great book, man. 25 cents. Well done.
Oh, yeah.
Rom Space Knight, Bill Sienkiewicz.
Nice.
Gotta love that Sinkovich.
Paranoia Strikes Deep. Yes, it does. Oh, this one, man.
Nice.
I love watercolor.
That's great cover.
She's got a summons to appear. Fooper. Fooper 6.
I'm not even gonna lie. I forgot Foofer existed up until you.
Fooper, bruh. Fooper. All right. Oh, dude, you're gonna love this one. Power Pachyderms.
Oh man.
#1.
What's up with Elektra?
Yeah, she's a fucking pachyderm. That's what's up.
Everything's just pointing at someone.
Everything, they're all elephants.
Are they all elephants? Or
Yeah,
are they all
pachyderm.
phallic?
Yeah, they're, take it either way.
Take it both ways.
Ooh.
Am I
This,
throwing the banner up?
yeah,
Throw the banner up.
no, you don't need it. This dude, I almost pooped. This dude, man, when I found it, Star Trek and XMen.
That's awesome.
Oh, yeah.
Fucking kidding me?
That's awesome.
This
Who's
is
the
like
artist? Is
a
that
dream
Paul Neary?
come true. What?
Who's the artist? Paul Neary? Brian Hitch?
Silvestri.
Silvestri?
Yeah,
Huh.
Mark Silvestri.
Yeah, that sounds right. What? Yeah, that sounds about right. What year is that?
Oh, no, it's in the mid-90s.
95, 96, something like that, right?
Yeah, I'll have to check exactly. This one, man, it intrigued me. Fear Itself, Hulk versus Dracula,
Awesome.
#1.
Damn.
I thought that was really nice.
All
and
the
these-
yourself stuff. I don't have that.
Yeah, and these ones I just wanted to show Rob. I'm going to give to you. This is Wonder Woman 20 and 20 and 22.
Oh, nice.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know which way I can't. Yeah, so those are yours, and I have a Rob Worst pile. So
Thank you.
then, sorry, dudes. There's more. There's more.
Show more. Show more.
This is from like an AOK, but like Steven Spock. This one book, Conan 15.
Nice.
Conan the Barbarian. And
Bronze
his
Age.
bro Barry Smith on it. He's so on it.
That's
All
great.
Yeah, this is not part of the AOK, but this is great. I found this in an El Cheapo bin, and I was more than happy to get it. Like Marvel's Greatest Comics. It's 20 center. Yeah. Black Goliath #5.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. 2-in-1 with Thing and Thor.
Oh,
Yeah. And then a 2-in-1 with Thing and Quasar.
there is no such thing as a bad Marvel 2-in-1 cover. Every single cover is awesome.
Yeah. And then
And that
there's
Marvel-
sorry.
Well, go back to that Marvel 2-in-1 with Quasar. because that's the one I was looking for a while now. That one is the origin of how Quasar came to be, at least as far as that name goes.
Well, I got it.
Right on.
Sweet.
Also, this is one that comes from Steven Spock. It's it's got like basically Universal monsters. Spider-Woman 32, I believe.
Oh yeah.
And look,
Nice.
the different monsters.
Very nice.
I know, I really like it a lot. And finally, and gosh, man, this blew me away that I found this. Woo! This Daredevil.
Beauty.
Born again.
God,
Very
country. Hell yeah.
Very nice.
But all right. I'm gonna show one more and then I'm out. Okay, just one more. Here we go. Wait. Oh, sorry, dudes.
Take your time. We're good.
All right. Okay.
Yeah,
So I
nothing
got
but time.
this one and fuck. Beep. All right. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Final issue.
Strangers. Yeah, 41. Final issue. I love that art. And she's in pretty nice shape.
Yeah, she is.
Pretty nice shape.
Dead Man Phantom Stranger book from the Bronze era. Man, that's just good stuff right there.
I can show you another one, but I've already shown you guys, but it's here's a Weird Adventures with the Poirot on Spectre.
Nice.
Another 20 center. That's although the other one is actually 25 center, but anyways. And then this will be my last one. But this Secret Wars I found. It's Mike
more.
That.
Hell yeah.
I think it's Austin and Zach.
Yeah.
But it is beautiful. Yeah.
That Secret Wars run was a lot of fun. I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm definitely going Crisis on Infinite Earths over Secret Wars any day of the week. But Secret Wars was still a ton of fun.
Oh, sorry. Actually, I lied. There's a few I pulled in with you in mind, Miracleman.
Aha.
You were talking about Bounty Hunter.
Oh yeah.
Vader down. True
Nice.
Believers. Yeah, that. And then I got Captain Phasma #1.
Nice.
And then I found Vader one with the Soul SOULE on it.
Yeah.
And then a Vader 21 where it looks like he's parting the sea like Moses, but it is hellfire.
Those Vader covers.
Very Christ-like.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it is. Or Moses, whoever this fucking split the sea. All right, I'm out. I'm done. For real.
All right. Well, in that case, I guess it's on over to Miracleman as soon as my mouse works again so that I can go ahead and cue him up. So, looking over at the chat, I want to thank everyone for showing up. We have Life with Two YouTubers, Comic Crips of Castle Hills, Mark Napier, Ricardo Rodriguez Vacas. He showed up over here at my house on Sunday night. Gave him a good, cool comic book, so hopefully he's enjoying that. Hack79, along with Read More Comics. Let's see, anybody else that we got going on here? Hi, Aaliyah. Raul, just saw you in your chat, in your live stream just a few minutes ago. And as we're talking about coronavirus and we're not supposed to touch our faces, here I am scratching my head. But the mouse is working again, so now I can just go, hey, Miracleman, what'd you get?
Hey there, everybody. First of all, I just wanted to say thank you so much for joining us again tonight as we go through our new comic book day pickups. I'm going to start off here with a book that actually came out last week, but I missed it. I forgot to grab it. I had my LCS toss it in the bin for me. And here she is. Cimmerian, Queen of the Black Coast.
Oh, wow.
Now, we all know who the Cimmerian is. The Cimmerian is Conan. This is based off of, and in fact, this individual issue is almost a word for word and scene for scene comic book version of the second Conan story ever made by the original author. And Queen of the Black Coast, a recurring character. Basically, she's a pirate queen. So this comic is actually taking from that story. It's going to start a whole new Conan universe. This is done by Ablaze, which is the new company that has the artist from Walking Dead doing that Vampire State building. It's got that Unsacred from Mirka and Dolfo. It's got a bunch of books coming out right now, brand new publisher. And obviously, that's a cool homage cover right there. Second, the amazing John Layman and The Man Who Effed Up Time #2.
I read the first one. Did you get a chance to read this one?
I did. I did get a chance to read it, and it's just as good as the first one.
I got to pick it up.
I mean, listen, if you're not familiar with John Layman, he wrote Chew.
Oh yeah.
You know him. Phenomenal creator-owned series. Don't know why it's not a TV show yet. Netflix, Amazon, Hulu. I don't know. Whoever is looking for content, if you grab up Chew, I'm telling you, you got a show that is going to be a huge hit. Fantastic story. And this here is no exception to that. John Layman's got just the wonkiest freaking mind, man. And the fantastic story. The art's good. It fits the book. Not saying anything negative about it, but the color on this is really what kind of drives this book home for me. It's not so much the art. Not that the art's bad, but I mean, just the use of color in this, I really like it. I wanted to show you a good. There's a good. There we go. I just really like the way that looks. Really bright, vibrant. Not those kind of dulled hues you see in a lot of books.
It reminds me of Moon Girl and Devil Dinosaur.
Yes, very similar. And you know what? A colorist makes or breaks a book. I'll tell you right now.
Yeah,
it really does. Green Lantern Season 2, #2. I imagine a lot of people are getting that. Still Morrison and Sharp. First of all, Liam Sharp, that guy is a fantastic artist. He does spacefaring adventures better than most people I've ever even seen. Just a phenomenal artist. Really paired very well with this wonky Grant Morrison story. Grant really pulling out all the stops with Green Lantern here. Somebody said to me not too long ago what they're doing is, they're kind of demilitarizing the Green Lantern Corps. During the Johns run, the GL Corps was very much militarized, turned into kind of like more than a police force, almost like a SWAT tactical unit and slash military special forces team. And Morrison's kind of returning some of this craziness, some of this just off the wall space stuff that would happen were you part of a spacefaring police department. And I'm really enjoying it. Really, really good. Darth Vader #2 from the new ongoing series. Hey, listen, if you slept on issue 1, there's some cool stuff in this series, man. Get out and get issue 1 and issue 2 as soon as you can. That's Padme. And it is not a dream. So that should tell you something right there. AC Comics Super Babes #3. Now listen, I'm going to tell you right now, this might be the trashiest comic I'm buying. Okay.
Aren't you buying Money Shot as well?
I am. So that should tell you something. There's no sex in this. There's not porn. It is all cheesecake. But it's definitely going for one specific thing to sell their comics. But I do like, again, it's kind of amateurish art. It's not, definitely not big 2 level, but it's fun. It's enjoyable. Uses a lot of the FemForce characters, which I'm a FemForce collector. Man, these books are so new. They don't want to stand. I'm going to do that. All right. Next, this came out today. Was real excited. Ethan Sachs, Star Wars Bounty Hunter #1. Man, I want to read about bounty hunters. Like, why haven't we had more bounty hunter series? Why hasn't there always been a Star Wars bounty hunter series out? Doesn't even make sense.
Nope.
So here we go. I'll be on board with that, man. What's that?
Hindsight's 2020.
Right?
Ain't it?
Next, we have, and I wasn't going to get this because I'm not real interested in the character. Marvel Snapshots Submariner.
Yeah, I missed that too. Could have gotten it. I just had zero interest.
Yeah, me too. And then I flipped it open and saw this scene.
Oh.
Yep, not going to ruin any more of it for you.
I should go back and pick it up, huh?
It's Jerry Ordway Interiors, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's World War II. It's got the invaders. It's got the all-winners squad. You know, this is being told. This is all being curated by Busiek because they're doing, you know, it's based off of Marvel's. Ross is doing all the covers. Man, the quality of this one book, I hate to say this, but I might be getting all of these. And I only hate to say it because of my wallet. Speaking of trashy books, you think, oh, well, how can you call Super Babes trashy? You're reading Safe Sex. This is some classy smut, ladies and gentlemen. All right? Do not bash this smut. It is some good smut.
Good
it's not even all that smutty. It's really not. You know, here's one of the reasons I like this book, because it's giving a look into the world. Now, of course, it's fictionalized. It's based in a totalitarian, religious, fascist state in the future. Not only is sex work completely outlawed in every way, shape, and form, basically so sex. And this tells a story where essentially the sex workers of the future are the revolutionaries that we needed, and kind of go about saving all of society. And you know, the part I like about it is that I think a lot of people, I think sex work in general is kind of dehumanized. This book is, if you read this, I think you'd have a tough time dehumanizing sex workers. And you know, they're people too. So what? They show us their hoo-has or their ding-dongs. They deserve to be treated just like everybody else. And by the way, on this cover, that's a massive pile of well, we'll just say self-pleasuring devices that they're about to torch.
Hoo-has and ding-dongs.
Hoo-has and ding-dongs. Avengers of the Wasteland #3. Man, the first 2 issues were a lot of fun. This one looks like it's going to be good. Haven't got to read it yet. Those are all vampires. Baron Blood back there. Nice little cliffhanger at the end of the 2nd issue.
Oh, Return of Old Man MODOK.
This here is the God Loves Man Kills variant for the X-Men this week. I just love the way Eric looked on the cover. Next up, we got the Superman variant for the week. You know what? I get that it's a ploy to get me to buy their comics by revealing his identity, but it's working. It's a ploy that's working.
Working on me too. But I get every issue of Superman in action anyway.
There you go. I haven't really been reading Superman. I read Superman religiously all through the 90s, all the way up until New 52. Read the Morrison bit. That was it. I was done after that. I'm loving it. I'm absolutely loving this. It's been enjoyable every single issue. Young Justice 14. If you read the original Young Justice series, man, I'll tell you what, not only does it bring back all your favorites from the original team, it brings in a whole lot of other characters, a lot of these newer young characters whose books didn't really take off.
Like Arrowette.
Well, Arrowette, that's an original Young Justice member. Sideways, part of that new age, didn't really take off too good there. And then, last 2 new books I got this week. Latest issue of Avengers with the Spider-Woman variant. I love Spider-Woman, especially in that OG costume. So, of course, I had to get the Immortal Hulk with the Spider-Woman variant. That's the Patch Zurcher. And I'm sorry, Patch, if I'm saying your name wrong. But that's the Patch Zurcher one. That guy's a phenomenal freaking artist, man. It's just everything he draws, I love.
And he's really interesting on Twitter, too.
He is. He is quite enjoyable. So that was it for all the new stuff. But I did get some old stuff.
Yeah.
Let's take a look. But before we say take a look, let's say hi to comics.
Hello.
Hey.
You caught me bagging and boarding while Mr. Miracleman was.
That's so embarrassing.
Oops. Ah!
I hate it when people
What have
walk
I
in while I
done?
bag and board.
So let's see what you got,
All right, so
Miracle Man.
I got some cool stuff this week, guys. I got some cool stuff. I'm gonna show you the first thing. This was probably the thing I was happiest to put my hands on.
Oh, Jesus. Beautiful.
Oh my goodness.
Marvel Treasury Special 2001: A Space Odyssey.
There's no dings at the top or the side. That looks crisp.
Dude, have you seen my treasury, my one treasury, Miracleman?
No, I don't think I have.
All right, I'm going to go grab it real quick, and then we can show off our treasuries.
Here's the thing, though. Here's the problem with me having got this book. This was done, and I think most people know I'm a fan of the King. Jack Kirby is probably the number one artist and writer of DC that I seek out. And after seeing it in Treasury size, I have to say, I don't think you should see Jack Kirby's work
Oh,
in anything but this size from now on.
Wow.
I mean, they're just everything he has ever done. If he drew it, they should print a Treasury edition because I'll buy it. I don't care what it is. It's just all gorgeous. So super happy with this book. It was only $10. My LCS, he's just takes such good care of me. And he hooked me up with that one right there. He also got me another little oddity. He's got a few more of them, which, these were a little more common back in the day, but you don't really see them on the resale market. And that...
Oh, the minis.
Warner Brothers paperbacks, reprint of DC and Marvel Presents Batman versus the Incredible Hulk, and it is in full color.
Oh wow.
It is sharp. I don't even think this book was ever even cracked. It's got a little scratch right there.
How's the page or the pages? How are they? Are they acidic? Or are they?
They're
stable?
bright white. They're bright white. They're nice and tight. I mean, I don't have this crossover. I've always been looking for it. But to find this one, I mean, and basically looking like the day it was shipped out to the store, I was so excited about finding it. He had got a whole pile of them in. And there's a few more that I'm really thinking I might go get more of. He only charged me $7 for that. So I might go get some more.
all right, here's my treasury.
Ooh, let's see it.
Treasure.
Ooh.
Nice.
Oh wow.
That's a cool treasury right there.
Can we see inside? I'm seeing some MODOK action.
Is that a
Yeah.
harpy?
Yeah, it is Harpy.
It's Harpy. Yep.
Yeah. Very last page. Wolverine and Hercules drinking a beer.
Sweet.
That's how they should end every single Marvel book.
That's awesome.
Oh,
They should never be able to end a Marvel book without Wolverine and Hercules drinking a beer.
Salud!
Right.
Fair
Right.
enough.
Right. So, Lady had showed a couple of Marvel 2-in-1s earlier,
yeah.
which is cool because I had gotten annual number 6 here.
Oh, snap.
Oh, nice.
Again, there's no such thing as a bad Marvel 2-in-1 cover. It's
The hate
weird,
of the Harpy.
but it's awesome.
Oh, yeah.
It's
That's
awesome.
great.
And then number 18,
Oh, damn.
thing in Scarecrow.
Ooh.
Scarecrow, that is a weird character.
I'm
Then-
not familiar with that Scarecrow.
Oh yeah, Scarecrow is a Marvel Bronze Age superhero.
Interesting.
Now, I am a big fan of a lot of cheesecake artists. We'll be discussing that later today. And when you say cheesecake in modern comics, I think one name really comes to mind. I mean, there's a lot of very talented artists, but there's one that's super hot right now. People really love, and that's Adam Hughes. So Adam Hughes did all the covers on The Fairest, which was a follow-up to Fables. Mark Andreyko was the writer. Did Manhunter, the Kate Bishop version, and done a bunch of stuff. So great story. And then you get this beautiful Adam Hughes cover every single time. I don't know if you see this, but this is two genres, cheesecake and bondage, because she's in her underpants. And she's tied up. Even the three little mice look pretty hot. So
that just sounds wrong on so many different levels.
Picked up a whole pile of these. They were like $3 a piece. That's basically cover price. They're all gorgeous. There's one super cool cover, really, really beautiful, which I believe is issue number 8. It's got Goldilocks sitting there. Not Goldilocks. Rapunzel. She's blonde. She's sitting there. Godiva. She's sitting there. She's got the hair down. She's not wearing anything, of course, because it's Godiva. Gorgeous cover. If you see it, you'll know exactly which one I'm talking about. Issue number 8. That's the one I need to find. And then I found this. This is a second print of Jim Ballant's Tarot Witch of the Black Rose. First issue from his imprint, Broadsword Comics. I think it's like an issue 140 or 170 something at this point.
It just keeps going.
Yeah. And listen, it's an excuse to have large, buxom, nude women on every page. Don't get me wrong. but despite that,
what Ballant does best.
Well, right, and it's a good story. If you pick up a Witch of the Black Rose book, a tarot book, if you pick one up, you will definitely go, okay, I see what this comic is all about. But at the same time, you will be entertained by an enjoyable story. Then last but not least, a couple real quick ones here. I picked up this. I've been looking for it for years. It's Mars Attacks Image.
No.
Wow, I love that.
I got all 4 issues. Look at that Witchblade cover, man. And this is the whole Image universe at the time. The Max, Savage Dragon. The first issue actually has the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles because Image was publishing them at the time. And then it finishes with issue number 4 here. And I'm going to tell you something right now. Issue number 4 took a turn that actually kind of bothered me a little bit.
Okay, what happened?
Well, I don't know if I want to give away too much information, but I'll say this. These 2 characters right here are the children of Super Patriot. Everybody know who Super Patriot is from Image?
Oh, yeah. Robert Kirkman stuff.
Right. The Mars aliens capture this little band of heroes, and they try to create a hybrid with this young lady the old-fashioned way.
Oh my gosh!
Oh boy!
Yeah, it was genuine. You know what? They don't show you anything explicit. It's just her eyes and the way they frame the eyes, and then it gets closer and closer as you get the text from the aliens. Honestly, dude, it was kind of it was unsettling. It was and I didn't expect it. Like I said, it came out of nowhere. So that one kind of got to me a little bit. So be warned if you seek this out. Fun series. Might give you nightmares at the end.
Are you saying you're against interspecies dating?
I'm against non-consensual anything.
There you go.
Non-consensual anything, I'm 100% against.
Considering Harvey Weinstein's now serving 23 years in prison for non-consensual anything, don't be Harvey Weinstein, kid.
Fuck that dude.
So FemForce number 93 here. AC Comics just had a sale. Guys, if you are ever interested in any of this AC stuff, keep an eye out. They do a Christmas sale. They do a Mardi Gras sale. Everything on the site is half price. So I got all these half price. And finished my run up to number 100. There's 95. Beautiful cosplay. Before cosplay was a thing, there's some cosplay. and there's 98. And then FemForce uses a lot of public domain heroes, and they have a team called the Nedor Agents, which is made up of superheroes from Nedor, Standard, and Holyoke Publishing. So they created this superhero team. Now, you go, so what? Well, those are all the characters that were in Project Superpowers just a few years ago. Death-Defying Daredevil, the Black Terror, Pyro-Man. And here they are with FemForce number 157. This came out a few years back. It's a black and white. Comes out quarterly. And there's the whole new Golden Age public domain superhero team that they made. So, of course, I had to get my hands on this. I've been looking for it forever. And then I got the second part of the story right there. And that is it on those. Actually, no, I lie. I got two more to show you. And these were just fun pickups.
Oh, yeah.
The Millennium Edition.
Oh, my goodness.
Brave and the Bold number 28. You know, when these were coming out, literally nobody bought these things.
Yeah, they were trashed, and because so many were trashed.
Right.
And by that, I mean thrown in the trash or used as lining in the hamster's cage.
Right.
You didn't see many really nice condition copies. So looking at that in the condition that it is.
Oh, I like those millennial editions.
And this is the gold stamp. There's a gold stamp and a silver stamp. The silver stamp's more common. Gold stamp's a little tougher to come by.
Oh, really?
Yep.
Those are the only ones. I mean, I have a lot. I've never seen a silver stamp.
Really?
I've never seen a silver stamp.
I think it's because nobody cared about the silver stamps.
Maybe.
And then I got the showcase number 4. So I got that first appearance of the Barry Allen Flash reprint there, which I was super excited about. And actually, no, I'm sorry. I lied. I got 3 more. I got 3 more I want to show. 3 more. First of all, man, you got to love the 90s. Right? Got to love the 90s. Warrior Nun Ariella and Evangeline crossover. That's drawn by Ben Dunn. Ben Dunn is one of the head muckety mucks over at Antarctic. I'm not a huge fan of his, but man, this Warrior Nun stuff, if you find it, it's just fun stuff, man. You look at it and you go, wow, this is a 90s comic. And it'll never be any other era, but this is a 90s comic. And then last but not least,
I love that series.
Had to grab it. Found it in the bin. Sam Keith.
Yeah.
It's at Max Universe. This is under the Homage Comics imprint. A little bit tougher to find, because it came out when the print runs were nowhere near what they used to be. You can find the first 5 Max issues at every comic shop across the country. You can't find the 5 last issues anywhere in the country.
I got them.
Well, if you were getting but
to be fair, I was getting this as it came out because I love Sam Keith that much. But still, I'm missing the last 6 issues of the Max.
All right. Well, there you go. Yeah. Those last 6 issues, man, they're tough, dude. They are just plain old tough.
Yeah, they are. Last issue is going for between $30 to $40, maybe even $50, depending on where you get it.
And you know what's infuriating? I got a good buddy of mine. He's not a huge comic guy. He gets in. He's got like 3 long boxes. He's only got that because he's been hanging out with me for 10 years. He would probably have a short box without mine.
You're a good friend.
I know, right? And no, I'm a bad enabler. And
same difference.
And he walked into his shop, which I visit once in a while. A nice guy who runs the place. You just have to be into speed metal, and I can listen to it, but not an hour or so of it. I need to break it up, so I can never go there long. But he goes into the shop and he walks along and he's looking through his deep storage, and he looks down in the image bin and he pulls out the entire run of the Max at cover price.
Damn.
And this was about 5 years ago. So, they certainly didn't have the heat that they're having on them lately, but we're still real low print runs, and we're definitely had, more than a cover value price. So that's what I got. How about you, comics on the mind?
What did I get? I got some goodies here for you to show you guys.
Maybe comic goodies?
Comic goodies indeed.
Yeah.
Some may be repetitive, but it's all good. Like this one.
Nice.
Avengers of the Wasteland. I've been loving this series. I didn't read Dead Man Logan, which I plan on buying in
Trade.
the trade. Thank you. But I've been loving this series. It's been really good. The cliffhanger, like you said, Miracleman was epic, and I can't wait to read this one. Haven't read anything yet. Literally ran back here after leaving the LCS. And then a lot of people have been hyping this book up. I know this came out last week, I think, but I wanted to get it now, so I didn't get a chance to grab it. So on the stump, come on, political people of power, brawling it out. That sounds awesome. Let me jump in the ring for a little while.
That's how we should elect leaders of this country, is just all-out fights.
Yeah, let's do it.
Just break a pool cue in half, throw the remaining half into the ring and go, whoever walks out, you're the winner.
Totally agree.
Because if it's going to be two 70, 80-year-old white men going to be doing it, at least let it be fun for us for like the 20 seconds that they kill one another.
Then you're going to have like old political men that are like hopped up on steroids trying to fight it out every 4 years. Come on!
I want President Shirtless Bear Fighter.
Hell yeah.
That'd be awesome.
Hell yeah.
Sorry.
It's all good.
Ricky Ricardo. Would you want this? Do you want this gem? Because I'll put it in Rod's pile for you. I know you like super fun girly stuff.
It's for his daughter.
I'll give it to you, bro. I found it. It's awesome. Sorry. That's it.
Back on me. I'm a little sad I didn't get the first print, but I got the second print of issue number 2, Star Wars. I need to get the number 3. They were already sold out, but I loved issue number 1. It tugged at my heartstrings. It was really good. Just
do you need a first print of this?
Oh yeah, there it is. There it is.
If you want the first and second print of this, it's yours.
Well, I have the second print, but I don't have the first print.
No, I mean the first print. I have the first print of 1 and 2. If you want it, they're yours.
Yay! But the story was like epic. Like just the emotion, of everybody, all the characters was like captured really well. So I can't wait to read issue number 2. And then I also got Bounty Hunters, issue number 1, because I did not want to sleep on this one like I slept on Vader, which I tried to find, and they were all sold out. So I can't wait to read this one. And I'm still catching up on the Avengers. But here's the latest issue. Of course, Dracula is back, and he's trying to take over. So I can't wait to eventually get to this and read it. And then my LCS really understands me very well, and they know I love Hickman, and so they put this one in my pool. Decorum. I don't know if everybody's have heard of it.
Nice, yeah.
But I looked through it. The art, the concept is so cool. Like all the panels are drawn like different art style. But look at this. Another wraparound. It looks like a connecting book. Like when all the books come out, they can connect into like one big giant magazine type poster.
That's pretty cool.
So, but the art, just going through the art, like there was one page on here where everybody in the panel except for one dude is like different, and he like it's made so he can stand out. It's almost like Sin City with color, I can't wait to read this one. And then I got XMen issue number 3.
Ooh,
our girl Black Cat is in there, and
my girl
Spider-Man. Yeah, she is everywhere. And then
she's a hooer. Just kidding.
You naughty girl, you.
That was so judgmental.
Like that. Oh,
she's a beast still. She's a beast. I love this cover. Look at that. Look at the
Zenmu for president.
Yes. And that last issue was pretty good. I love like I feel like this is me personally. I feel like the Immortal Hulk is finally back on track to where I was loving it. The first 10 issues.
If there was one issue I would have gotten today, I didn't get anything today, but it would have been that issue right there.
Yeah, this cover is awesome. And I love this New Mutants cover. Look at
that art.
Look at how trippy that looks.
It's reminiscent of our boy. So who did that?
Who did the art for this? I do not know how to pronounce that name.
It's Flaviano or something.
Yeah.
I wonder. So because it's very reminiscent of the old school New Mutants.
Yeah.
That Sienkiewicz did, and so it's kind of like an homage almost.
Yeah, I totally agree. I love his style of art too. And then, of course, I am excited about this issue right here. I can't wait. This is definitely going on the top of the pile. I've been waiting for this battle.
Lady Sif, like a boss.
And I actually read that one.
You did? What is it good?
It is good.
Ooh, I can't wait. Ben Grimm, he's gonna be happy to read it.
Fight between Sif and Thor because she is way too much of a badass to take up arms against Thor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm kind of curious on how that issue is going to go. And then, of course, I hopped on the bandwagon of Venom on issue number 21, so I'm reading Venom Island.
We finally get to find out what's going on with Dylan.
Yeah, so this will be interesting to read. And I feel so bad. I'm like so behind in my my X-Men books. I still need to read number 7, X-Men number 7. But hey, this cover looks cool. Is that a Brood back there? It looks like it.
That looks like some Broods.
That's
pretty cool. The cover looks awesome.
Scared me, man.
It's one of my favorites. One of my favorite series.
Dude, I always thought they were freaky dicky. Like that Brood issue with Storm, like transforming into.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
terrifying.
Yeah, dude, they're scary. Brood.
They are.
Agreed.
It's my favorite, actually. No, Colossus, why?
No, not Colossus dying for the first time?
Yeah, how many? Come on.
A few.
We know Marvel. Oh, did I show this one?
Oh, there's 2 people that have it now.
I know.
Very nice.
People have been telling me if you want some classic Conan, read this. I haven't read any of this older stuff. Like I have one of the old school magazines size. Beautiful.
I bought a from Barnes and Noble. I was actually in a physical bookstore about 10 years ago, and I bought a Conan book that was all the original stories. And I think it was really cheap. I think it was like $6, like a remainder book.
Oh wow, that's pretty cheap.
Actually, here it is.
Oh, cool.
And it's the original Robert E. Howard stories. And the first one, Conan is very nondescript. The second story they wrote is what Cimmerian is based on, is Queen of the Black Coast.
Yeah, I remember you talking about that.
Yeah. So I finished that one. It's actually a pretty good story. The second story was pretty good. The first story was kind of dry. Characters were doing stuff that didn't really make a ton of sense. But the second story, which this is based on, really fun. So I hope you enjoy it.
Oh yeah, that's definitely going on the top 5 of books that I'm going to read tonight.
Also, Miracleman and I are twinsies on the Superman Warrior.
You know what? Wow. I gotta grab mine. We got to do that again. You
right.
go back to Comics on the Mind, and I'll grab mine. We'll do that again in a minute.
Oh, meanwhile, when I visited Phil's comic shop earlier today, they had a black and white variant cover of that same Sumerian issue 1.
Oh, wow.
It was going for $20. I didn't know if that was something that you would have wanted or not, but I kind of figured, dude probably has it already. He is such a Conan fan, and I'm like a passing fly-by-night Conan fan.
Yeah, I jumped on around the time they were doing Savage Avengers, and then what was that one run that they did where Conan's now in the Marvel universe now? What was it called?
Savage Avengers.
Was it Savage Avengers? No, there was one before that.
No Road Home.
Yes, No Road Home. Thank you. Brain fart. Yeah, that was also good too. But yeah, ever since then, I jumped on the whole Conan the Barbarian bandwagon. But it's been pretty good. I love Savage Avengers. Where is that book at?
While you look for that, we have Miracleman with the same issue that Lady Fantastic also has.
There she is, twinning.
We got twinsies.
Twinsies.
So that's Superman 417 for the folks who don't know. It is a very much so Superman as John Carter of Mars.
Oh,
Yep.
wow. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, for a single issue story, I really recommend this one. This is a fun book, and it's kind of unique, particularly at the time. Plus, it's just a badass cover, man. I mean, look at that. That's pretty.
As Lady Fantastic zooms in on it.
I don't think we need to see inside of him.
Right down his throat.
Now we do.
All right, I'll show another 1 minute.
Oh,
Hello.
we're going to be seeing inside of her soon if you keep going. Hello, Mynd.
Oh,
I don't have any more.
Okay, do you have any more to show Comics on the Mind?
Oh, just has anybody read this one? This is Savage Avengers, one of my favorite reads right now. I can't wait to see where this is gonna go, you know. And then everybody's like going gaga over this cover. Oh my gosh, Electron, Mr. Strange new.
Is that how they say it?
That's how
If they say it-
just like that, the same tone and everything.
You got Electra.
Yeah.
Don't do it.
Yeah.
To be fair, if you wanted to end anybody being sexually aroused, just speak in that voice. Whether they're
Come on, boy.
Hey, buddy, you to get a drink tonight.
We're not going to burn anybody on the screen here, okay?
If you actually sound like that, I apologize.
Depends on the day.
Mhm.
Do you have any more comics to show?
Oh, that is all the books. I haven't opened it, but Rod the Rican sent me an AOK.
Oh, sweet.
I know one of the books in here, but it feels definitely heavy, so there might be more than one. So,
I'm just gonna say the first slab I ever got was from Rod the Rican.
Really?
Batman 66.
Wow.
It was an Adam Hughes homage to Detective 453.
Oh, nice.
Rod's
Sweet.
the man. He's
Awesome.
been doing this for over a year now.
He got me into the gang.
And now we're all here.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
should I show what I got today?
Yeah.
No, you show yours.
Up to and including what I already showed at the very beginning. So, Mind Shift, what you already saw at the very beginning that I picked up today from Phil's Comics has been
Show
first
us
appearance of Deathlock.
Oh, shit.
I'll just throw it all under the camera.
Don't throw it. Don't throw
There you
it.
go. No, I did not pick up Hero 1. That's something I've just had.
At first, I thought it said Nero, and I was like, what?
Close. Very close. So I got the first appearance of Deathlock, also consequently the first George Perez in Marvel Comics.
Oh, wow.
I picked up the new Falcon's Wings issue, which goes really nicely with the X-Men issue in Captain America. Following that up with a nice little run of Defenders. This one is a bit of a beater copy, but I have a nicer 3.
Ooh.
Nice.
But an even better first appearance of Barbara Norris.
Oh my gosh, that's so cool.
And I picked up a 26, which is starting to lead into that first Star.
Jelly of that 4.
Yeah, same here.
Absolutely none whatsoever of number 28. Damn. But I did get this.
That's bitchin'.
Galactus.
What issue is that?
This is 210. And he even had a 2 and 11. The first appearance of Terrax.
Terrax is awesome.
He's a herald. I've been trying to pick up all these heralds. Like just the other week, picked that up.
Nice.
Fire Lord.
We're not worthy.
Is that my new nickname, Fire Lord, or the pillager of comic books that Raul Hialeah calls me? And I wound up picking up most of a good run of Marvel Premiere. So you see the 2 that I have next. This one's the first appearance of Colleen Wing in issue 19. First appearance of Misty Knight in 21. So I already have a 15. So there's a 16, 17, sadly no 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, no 24, but 25, which is the first John Byrne. And it's a Byrne Claremont story, so it's a good book to be picking up.
Sweet.
First Star-Lord in comics. I already have Star-Lord over here in issue. Let's move that out because everyone says on Comic Gories I have everything at hand. So this one goes
Nice.
Cool.
And lastly, for the older books, I picked up the first appearance of Mr. Sinister.
That's cool.
Maybe 12 bucks at most. What was that?
Isn't it 221?
221? Yes, it is. Issue
I know it is.
221 of Uncanny.
I'm a Rain Man when it comes to X-Men, dude.
Yeah,
Yes, you are. I need to get better on my X-Men, knowing what are all the first appearances.
Don't worry, I have you covered.
All right, so we're going to move on to the section that I like to call What's in the Briefcase?
What's in the briefcase?
Back over
Show
to
us,
me.
show us.
As I open this little bastard up, because it was a heavy week, but not that heavy, right? So opening up the briefcase.
It's a pretty decent week for me, actually. I don't know. That was pretty. I think I left a couple books behind.
It always feels like I'm missing something. All right, so let's throw all these down on the table. I picked up myself a Decorum #1 as well.
Nice.
So Decorum #1 is first John Hickman on this title. I missed the last month of the Goon, so Fresh Comics, also known as Frank's Comics down here in Miami. He wound up making sure I got those.
Sweet.
Ooh, nice.
Mercy #1. This is a cool looking cover. I know that Jenny Friesen did a variant of this, but I ended up getting that one.
I passed up on that one.
Amazing Spider-Man, the Spider-Woman variant cover.
Nice.
The Avengers Spider-Woman cover.
Still
How do you not
popular.
Avengers of the Wasteland.
Nice.
Immortal Hulk with some Z. Of course, I had got this cover because it's Alex Ross. Punisher Soviet. Looking forward to reading this when the next issue comes out finally.
That one.
Thor #4. The Black Winter is here, and death has another name. It's Thor.
Ooh.
Venom number 24, where if you read issue 23 and you didn't read all of it, it might have been a dream sequence. It might not have been. We really don't know. But hey, Dylan's powers are kind of showing itself, and it's still clearly undefined. Cable number 1, black cover variant.
That's
So if you ever get this drawn on, they're going to have to use some silver marker. It's going to be
Yeah, that'll be tough.
so tough. But it would look cool in black.
It would look cool.
Mutants number 9. XMen number 8.
Oh, nice.
Catwoman 21. Joelle Jones still writing it. I don't know how much longer they're going to go on Catwoman because now that King's no longer on the title, it seems like it doesn't quite sync up anymore. Batman, along with Warren Ellis and Brian Hitch. I'm looking forward to reading these a little bit later on. The facsimile edition of the first appearance of Robin.
Nice.
I will probably not read it, but I'll flip through it because those Golden Age stories are really difficult to read.
Yeah, they are.
Flash number 751. I am deciding I am not reading Flash 1 through 88. I'm just going to start from 750. Let's see if I get way late on those two. Green Lantern Season 2, Issue 2. It's only going to be mildly confusing later on when I'm seeing Season 2, Number 2 of...
That's kind of weird.
Goddamn DC. Superman 21, more of the reveal of Clark Kent as Superman for the second time in 2 years. The variant cover of Wonder Woman. And last but not least, the variant cover of Young Justice number 14, the first appearance of the new Young Justice, the second team. And those are the books of the week.
Hey, I don't want to step on you here, but man, that Clark Kent reveal really grinds your gears. You really, you were really frustrated with that.
It's annoying when they do something like for the second time in very little amount of time.
Yeah. No, I mean, it's definitely being played off differently, but I totally hear what you're saying. I don't think it really landed the first time they did it. You know, I also question if they already knew that they were going to be resetting the Superman mythos by having, basically, pre-New 52 and post-New 52, New 52 Superman meld into one. So they were like, to hell with it. Let's just have a little fun with it and see where we can go. But I remember that happening, and it really, people talked about it and then just kind of dropped it, and nobody really brought it up anymore.
Pretty much.
So
it would kind of be like right after Peter Parker reveals himself to be Peter Parker to the world as Spider-Man back in Civil War, put the genie back in the bottle, and then like 3 months later, hey, I'm Spider-Man. It's like, you just did it.
Right.
Why undo? It's driving me crazy.
You don't have to go back to that that quickly, guys. Give us a little time, let it reset.
Yeah. Lady Fantastic, you were going to say something?
So I wanted to make note that this ROM 50 was actually part of the assistant editors month or whatever.
Nice.
Cool. Yeah, so it's like this specific run in 1983 across titles, and it's and so it's always got a goofy thing up in the corner, and they have a bunch of like jokes and stuff about the assistant editors because they got to write like for that entire month. So anyways, it's dorky, but it's awesome.
Count right there. Hold on.
It's dorky, but it's cool.
It's
We're all
dorky.
dorky, and some of us are a little cooler than others. Miracleman. Come on. Lady Fantastic.
Gesundheit.
Have Corona. Like Tom Hanks. You can't lose a national hero. Oh, God, I'm starting to wonder now, before we get into this discussion, if this coronavirus starts hitting more and more, I'm not even thinking so much about the convention circuit anymore, because to me, all conventions probably by next week or so will be canceled.
Right.
Most likely. My next question is going to be, what's going to happen with distribution for people that, if you're a comic book artist or writer, it's a very solitary job. You do all your stuff at home, you send it in, and then production handles the rest.
Right.
Will production continue? Will it be delayed? If we wind up having to shut everything down for 2 weeks across the board, across the country, would that mean that for 2 weeks we don't see comics, and then all of a sudden it's like Christmas all over again, and instead of getting like 20 books that we'd normally get every week, we're now getting 60 for that week, and we haven't been paid for those 2 weeks for those that wind up working paycheck to paycheck as a 1099. It could really screw up the whole comic book industry, and I'm wondering how things are going to turn out.
Yeah. Honestly, you don't know. There's no way that you can predict. And so I would just like, why even fret? I would just live your life, because you can't possibly know what's going to be hit and where and what it will or won't affect. You just can't.
Right. You know, we're in totally uncharted territory right now.
And we can't control it. We're totally out of control.
Right.
You know, like
Right.
This is not. To the extent that we are responsible for our own person and our own hygiene and interaction. What the fuck else can we do?
Right. That's what we got. That's what we can stick to. And then, you know, I think the speculation as to things that can happen has probably actually caused us more harm than good in the last couple of weeks. Not to say that there hasn't been some other balls dropped, because there certainly were. But I don't think, you know, I thought the same things, and I said, you know what, just drop it, because if I start going down that road, I mean, I'll be stockpiling shotgun shells and cases of water and knocking down little old ladies for toilet paper.
Do it.
How much toilet paper do you need?
All the toilet paper. I've got kids.
Toilet paper on deck for you.
Look at all the
Come on.
toilet paper I have.
It is so stupid. People don't even know what the hell they're doing. So I think panic is the worst possible thing that you could do.
Which we're very familiar with down here in Miami. People are preparing not for a hurricane, but the zombie apocalypse.
Just go to the CDC, type in cdc.org or .gov, and you'll get all the information you know by professionals that were trained to do that shit.
And
That
Lady
don't have any
Fantastic
kind of
is a
political
scientist, so defer to her knowledge.
I defer to the CDC and the NIH's knowledge, and not to any given political party.
And don't touch your face.
Yeah, really. I think they've said that everything that they basically put out. They're like, okay, so here's what we need you to do: wash your hands, don't touch your face, don't like cough on your neighbors, and you should be okay. I think the real worry is, obviously, you know, repetition is key. You know, you got to teach people these things. But I think the real worry is how many people weren't washing their hands already, and why weren't they washing their hands to begin with?
I totally agree with you, because we just had to teach our students today about that. I'm just like, and one of the teachers was blaming was like, well, you should be doing it.
I don't think it's like particularly like a bad issue unless you're worried about viral propagation, because the thing is people touch a lot of things.
Right.
We have no control over what the probability of someone else touching, and that's it. There are hubs of places where many people touch or interact. Like, those are going to be points that will just cause more like vectors to go out, and it spreads like that. I mean, so that's the washing hands bit. It's not because it's like you shit on them, you know, it's more of just like, it's that contact that we're not even conscious of that could be the cause of picking it up.
Now, Lady Fantastic, I have a great question for you, and this is something that I've been asked myself. Do you think that coronavirus can be passed from person to person by touching?
So the answer would be yes and no. Yes, if you touched that and then touched your face or your eye, if the coronavirus were on it. know if you touched it, the virus were on it, you washed your hands and, or put on gloves. But the thing is, it's like, to that extent, man, I almost feel like, dude, I cannot live my life that paranoid. Like,
that's paranoid right there.
I just live in fear.
And
Well,
like,
I mean,
yeah,
go
so
ahead.
sorry.
Lady,
Kurt,
go ahead.
You were going to say something.
Well, I mean, I was just going to say that I feel like a lot of people are kind of, let's be real, using this as like a fear tactic to kind of like make people go out and buy stuff. You know what I mean?
People
Not
are
more.
stupid.
Well, back in the 1970s, there was a movie called Network, and this was a comedy for the most part. It was about this guy, Howard Beale, a newscaster, that just lost his shit one day and said, you know what? I don't understand what's going on in the world right now, and I can't tell you how to fix it. But first, you have to get mad. You have to get angry. I want you to go to your windows and open them and scream, I'm as mad as hell, and I'm not going to take it anymore. And what the movie was trying to tell you was that, hey, the news could become entertainment when all they're trying to do is get you to watch. And how do you watch? Well, we have to manufacture fear, a reason for people to tune in. Thing is that last week in Italy, everything was fine. And this week, doctors are choosing who lives and who dies. So remember, kids, rule number 1, don't die.
Well, you know what, you're right about that, but I think I think that becomes a double-edged sword, because what you start to see happening is people just saying, well, I'm just on, that's what they're doing. They're just trying to manufacture fear, and in some instances, they're not going to be. What happens when that's a real thing they're telling you about, and it's not, has nothing to do with being manufactured fear.
That's why you have to be calm but mindful.
Right.
You have to be mindful of what's going on. So it's not like you have to overreact, but you can react proportionately to what's going on and just be aware. And so,
Right.
and going to news outlets is not the best way to get information about this virus. Go to the CDC or the NIH.
Right.
Don't listen to the, they're going to be they will tell you where the cases are, where to monitor it. So, and then the rest is, whatever it is, but it's not from professionals.
Fear mongering. Oh, excuse me.
Friends, don't listen to the president. Don't necessarily listen to the news. Look to the actual scientists. People like Dr. Chu from Washington is the person that has been testing people since January. We know that it's everywhere now, so don't burn your comics. Don't boil them in water if you plan on selling them later. I mean, hey, if you like reading boiled comics, that's up to you. But it's about time to get off of this subject altogether at this point and start talking about what genre defines you as a comic book reader. Or perhaps how to figure that out. Maybe there's a type of movie that you like and you go, well, I've been looking at some of these comic book shows on the YouTubes and on the internets and on the Twitters and on the Instagrams, and maybe not so much the Facebook, but I've been looking at all these places here and I kind of want to get into it. So I know that Mr. Miracleman has a lot of deep knowledge on subgenres. So I'm pretty good about the superhero. I know Lady Fantastic's good with the superheroes. So is Comics on the Mind.
I'm going to have to get off of here soon, like probably right now. You guys can
let's start with Lady Fantastic. If you were going to be getting somebody into comic books just to get, and then we'll jump around and say, hey, why don't you promote yourself? But if you were going to get somebody into comic books that just watches movies, what would you tell them to check out?
I would tell them to read, like, okay, one of two things. I don't know. It depends on the person and who they are. I would always advocate for like XMen or Avengers, but I would also, I don't know, man. There's so many, something lighthearted, something like, that's pretty light fare, I think, depending on the issue.
How about a bit more defined? Say this person has never watched a comic book movie and they just watch The Godfather once every 3 months. What would you give them to read?
Uh, Infinity Gauntlet. I don't know.
If somebody watched The Godfather, you'd want to give them Criminal by Ed Brubaker.
Or The Mall. That's a Scout comic.
Sorry, I'm very tired. I need to get off of here.
That's fine. So for Lady Fantastic, go ahead, promote yourself. Do you have anything coming up on your channel or anything going on your YouTube or on your Insta?
Yeah, sorry. I understand now what you mean more now, but I'm so I don't know what's good. Like right now, I'm going to be working hard, and so my social life might not be very consistent, and that means I'll be around, but I can't make any promises. It's just the next week and a half is going to be balls to the walls doing nerd stuff and getting the corona.
Good luck with your corona.
Thank you.
Please don't get the corona and don't die. We need you here because we love you and we miss you so much. And I don't want to go to another funeral this year.
Oh, okay. That was really weird and depressing. I'm going to die, but I don't plan on doing it
Not
anytime
tomorrow.
soon.
Or this year.
Calm down, brother.
Don't break Rob's first rule. Come on.
I don't have any rules. I only have one rule. It's not a hard one.
It's a soft one. It's a soft rule. Don't die.
It's not a line in the sand. But like always, thank you so much, Lady Fantastic. Do check out her YouTube channel if you haven't already. Sub up Lady Fantastic. If you go into the bio, I have a list of everybody's names and where you can find them and where to sub them up and follow them. So hopefully we get to see you back here next Wednesday. Safe, secure, and healthy.
Corona free. I'll only be wearing a crown.
What?
Skip it.
I'm out. I need
Have
to
a good week.
Peace.
genres. I'm shit. Bye, guys.
Bye.
All right, so moving on over to the rest of the chat here. What would you consider for yourself if you were going to be telling somebody that has never read a comic before, now wants to start getting into it? They've seen some pretty shiny covers for like pre-code horror, and they're just like, hey, I want to start. What should I pick up? I want to read something good. Where would you start, Kirk?
Well, if we're going down the superhero route, like I'm a big fan of twists, like huge twists. So I always like, in terms of like modern day books, I always tell people to read Superior Spider-Man. This is the series that made me start reading modern day books. I was collecting a lot of like Copper Age, Silver Age, Bronze Age. But when I read this series, like this is that got me hooked. Whoa, if this is happening, then what else is happening in the other Marvel books, you know? So I would tell them to read this. Or like Lady Fantastic. I'm a big sucker for like huge events. So like if I agree with Lady Fantastic, I would have them read Infinity Gauntlet or Infinity Wars. Like I love these series. Still working on the collection, but just so you want oodles and oodles of superheroes, read that. And of course, you can't go wrong with like XMen. Like, who doesn't like a good mutant story? You know.
You know, the best part about XMen, if you want to tell somebody where to get into XMen right now, the current XMen run I think is pretty accessible for anybody. But let's say they didn't want to read anything modern; they wanted to go and get something that was already done, something that was in the trades. That Morrison run on XMen. You know, if you have nothing more than a X-Men movie or X-Men animated series understanding of the X-Men, you can pick up that Morrison run and just fall right into it. It's like a perfect jumping on point. Trades are crazy easy to get your hands on. You know, so if you are getting somebody on X-Men,
it's good stuff.
Good
Plus,
stuff.
When you hit Ethan Van Skeever's artwork, if you look at it close enough in the background, you'll see the word sex written just about everywhere.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, it's worth 12. And but you know, I mean, if that's what you're looking for, that's great. You know, I have two. You know, I'm a big superhero person in general, but my collection encompasses a very wide range. And one of those subgenres that you mentioned that I really like is the cheesecake / bondage covers.
Okay.
And I pulled a whole bunch. I really wanted to show them. And it's what it sounds like. It's bondage. Good girl stuff. Primarily because it's DC mostly. But Wonder Woman, Lois Lane, in the bronze and silver age, these ladies, they went through some trying times very routinely on their covers. They were regularly tied up or restrained. Now, this is not a thing where it's necessarily the whole story or anything like that, and it's DC, so it's at the least lascivious that you could possibly make it. Now, here's the one that really stood out that I wanted to show off the most. I mean, look at that. I'm not even really deep on Wonder Woman. Look how many Wonder Woman covers there were where she was tied up with her own lasso.
Like what, 80% of them?
Yeah. And that's not even the worst one. I got another one I'm going to show you in a minute. But first, this is from the modern run, and it's Brian Boland. This is one of his best known covers from that run. Wonder Woman's restrained. She's got a gun to her head. Now, here's the real question. Who wants to tell me what is on Wonder Woman's brow?
Oh, my gosh. Oh, my gosh.
I think I'm going to have to do this.
I mean, it's DC Comics.
Sounds like a very sticky situation, definitely.
It seems it. if only she was on an ocean liner, some seaman could have helped her. And I don't know what's going on with that cover. If I meet Brian Boland, I imagine he's been asked a lot. But the first thing out of my mouth will be like, "Why did you draw that on Wonder Woman's head?" It's weird. But sometimes it gets even worse than that. Well, maybe not worse than that. That's a certain type of thing there. But this is Wonder Woman number 200. I'm about to show you. 1972, story by Denny O'Neil, art by, I will never say this name right, Dick Giordano.
That's right.
Yeah, got it? Yeah. So this is a disturbing cover, ladies and gentlemen. This is when Wonder Woman was depowered. You can tell because she's wearing go-go boots.
Pants.
So here's Wonder Woman. This is Dr. Cyber, an old silver bronze villain in the Wonder Woman mythos. And you'll see Wonder Woman is quite restrained here. And there are genuine torture instruments down here. She's coming in with a knife. We got pliers. We got these weird serrated blades. Frankly, this is a disturbing cover.
How would you explain something like that to children? That's like finding that mask cover from like the 1940s or 50s, right, with all those the Klan members all decked out in red with the woman about to be sacrificed.
Right.
So how do you explain that to a kid? Oh wait, you don't, because it's just a comic book.
Right. And I mean, this is 1972. This is when comic books were absolutely 100% marketed towards children. So this was placed on a newsstand rack, because this is before your local comic shop and direct distribution. And it was part of their 25-cent initiative. This is when DC started playing around with the price to try and get, play around with page count at that price to try and get the newsstands to carry more comics and give them more space. And this is a heck of a cover to be confronted with in 1972, sitting on your local newsstand. The bondage ones, most of them are, they're almost cutesy, I would say. They're almost very cheesecakey. And as you see, even this one, maybe not that one so much, but even this one right here, okay, it's one of the bondage covers, but it's not very lascivious or disturbing. But you get to these two, and whoo, the lolly. That's some oddball stuff right there.
Yeah, I
But
definitely
Those
agree.
books, yeah, for genre, I think you would call that one Good Girl and Bondage. So for those at home that are into the fetish-oriented stuff, you're going to find a lot of that William Molston Martin. I don't know if I'm butchering that name, but there was a movie that was made about his lifestyle where he was married, was having threesomes all the time because that was just his relationship. So almost all the written books of the era by William, those were all bondage stuff because he was all about getting the kink out to the world to make it normalized so you won't go, that's just some pervert. Because up until about the last maybe 10 years or so, a pervert was the lowest of the dregs among society. And after, I guess, what was it, Twilight and 50 Shades of Grey, that became a little bit more accepted. But back in the day, the closest you'd come to 50 Shades was these kind of Wonder Woman covers, some of the Matt Baker stuff that was coming out from the 1950s, the Femme Force that you're reading currently.
Right. Well, you brought that up, William Moulton Marston. I knew the name, and then you said it, and I lost it. So yes, he was. It wasn't quite as crazy as it sounds. So here's the working theory right now. I actually read quite a bit up on this. When the Wonder Woman, there was a Wonder Woman biography that included all this information that at the time wasn't really available. So William was married to a woman who today is believed was a lesbian. But she was in love with William. They had a relationship, and essentially they came to an understanding where they were a throuple. They were a long-term relationship. Another woman lived with them. She was ostensibly the help, but she wasn't. She was his wife's girlfriend and his girlfriend. I mean, it was a polyamorous relationship in the golden age of comic books.
Wow.
And William is credited with the creation of Wonder Woman. However, it has come to be known since then that the two women primarily created Wonder Woman. And, being the 40s, the man of the relationship was the one who could sell it and market it and get paid for it. And so basically they, as a group, created the character, and William got the credit because, it was the 40s.
Kind of like another movie that came out around the same time, Big Eyes. Because Big Eyes was about a female painter, married another more famous male painter, but it was her paintings that he was stealing. I mean, just saying that I was the one that did this. These are my paintings.
Right.
And it was the only way that a woman could get anything published back in the day. So unless you were Marie Severin, chances are you weren't really working in the industry. And even today, you have people like Christina Z. I don't know if she's still producing books. She was once a writer of Witchblade. Now you have Gail Simone, and she came along just as a result of a issue number 54 of the Green Lantern, where a woman was stuffed in a fridge, and Green Lantern goes to open that fridge. They killed my girlfriend. And that's just been the treatment of women throughout comics and basically just throughout literature, period. So finally, I have this woman that's actually writing this stuff. So if you're a woman and you want to get into reading comics by other women, Gail Simone's probably one of the best people that you could start reading. She did some great stuff on Birds of Prey. She started her work out on Deadpool, Volume 1, towards the very end of the whole series. Secret Six, which is great stuff. I mean, if you love Bane from The Dark Knight, this is a different kind of Bane, but this is a pretty dark Bane, but a Bane still with a sense of humor. So what do you have trouble lifting? Like detectives, apparently. He had a good sense of humor, but still very dark. And then Tom King took that and just went right into the ground for the darkness. So I like having a good balance with all that. Me personally, if I was going to give somebody that was never, that's never read a comic book, likes movies, has been reading Godfather, reading Godfather. It was Mario Puzo who wrote that to begin with, turned into a movie. So if you like crime and you kind of want to get him into superheroes, I'm going to start him off with Frank Miller's Volume 1, Daredevil, because that is both crime story, where there's some great like Clint Eastwood sort of Dirty Harry crime elements to it, and it wrapped up well. He stuck the landing, unlike many of his stuff that have come out subsequently, like The Dark Knight Returns 3 or whatever it's called.
Yeah, that's a great series. The Daredevil stuff itself is a lot more, I think, accessible than Dark Knight, because I think people get confused by that jump ahead. You know, comic readers, if you're a longtime comic reader, you're used to these future stories where you have some different takes on your favorite characters, or these Elseworlds, or these what ifs, or whatever. But if you're a casual reader and you hop on, I think we talked about this in a previous show, Dark Knight always way up there on the list of graphic novels everybody's got to read. You don't hand a casual Dark Knight Returns. That is one of the worst. That's like handing them Watchmen. What are you doing? That is deep.
Along the same lines, it would be like handing him the last Superman story from Action and Superman,
right?
Where Alan Moore ends the whole thing. It's a great story, yes.
But
unless you know like pre-crisis characters from the Superman lore, you're going, "Who's that? Who's that? What's going on?"
So crazy. It's so tough to follow. I was a huge Superman fan, and I still had instances where I was like, at the time. And since I figured it out, but at the time I was even confused. So yeah, it's just too deep of a story. There's too much lore, there's too much background. It's not something you hand somebody right away. But Daredevil, if you like Frank Miller, sorry.
No, all good.
Right. If you like Frank Miller and you want to get somebody in superhero stuff, Daredevil's the way to go.
And another good one, if someone liked that Daredevil run and they're like, okay, you know what? Superheroes do be good. For the 1970s, you did not have a lot of stuff with that great of a writing sense. So fast forward it a little bit. If somebody wants to start going, well, now I'm kind of curious. Let's give me some superhero stories. I will give them, despite the fact, as much as I rail against his modern writing, when he shot onto on the scene with Ultimate Comics, Spider-Man, Ultimate Spider-Man #1 through 13. Because when you get to, I think, issue, I can't remember if it was 10 or 12, but the entire issue is just Peter Parker and Mary Jane having a conversation in his bedroom, where he comes out of the closet as Spider-Man. And it's one of the best issues I've read of a comic book almost ever. One issue, he's not in costume for 1 second. All it is a conversation between two teenagers in love and him going, oh my God, I have this huge secret that I cannot keep from you anymore. It's great writing, it's great comics, and yes, it's decompressed storytelling. It could have been told easily in one issue, but it let some air to breathe, so that way you kind of understand more. There's not all this heavy baggage of continuity of, well, this happened in this issue and this one happened as a crossover as a result of this crossover, and you're pulling your hair out going, you know what, I give up. Just give me the Wikipedia quick and short.
Right. Yeah. There's some superhero stories that when you start to actually get into some of the superhero stories, there are some, there's levels, right? I mean, you talk about Spider-Man, that Ultimate Spider-Man. The reason it's good to start with that is because you just need a surface level understanding of Spider-Man, seen 1 or 2 movies, watched 1 or 2 cartoons, and you can hop right into that Ultimates and just run and just go. And it condenses 40 years of Spider-Man history into 150 issues. I mean,
no easy task.
What's that?
And no easy task. And this guy was a crime writer to begin with.
Right. Just zips right through it. And that's probably one of your more accessible ones. When you get a little deeper in superheroes, one I really like to show people, I only grabbed 2 of the issues here. but it's Panic in the Sky, which is a Superman run from '92.
Oh, yeah, Jurgens.
It goes through all 4 Superman titles of the time: Action Comics, Adventures of Superman, Superman the Man of Steel, and of course just the main Superman title. And it basically has the entirety of the DC universe dealing with an invasion by Warworld, which is essentially a world made for war, believe it or not. I know it's surprising with that name. But as you can see, they do homage of one of my favorite covers of all time here as part of it. This is Bogdanov in '91 after Perez in '85. It kind of brings all of the Superman mythos into one spot. It brings in the Supergirl, the post-crisis Supergirl, which is really a shape-shifting Lana Lang from an alternate dimension. But all the background characters, all of his supporting characters are in it. Basically every superhero in the DCU at the time, which was a lot. It's kind of almost a mini Crisis on Infinite Earths. I think it was only 6 parts, 8 parts maybe. But you can find this in trade real easy. If you like Superman, if you have even a passing understanding of DC Comics in the 90s, this is probably one of your absolute hands down best stories to get your hands on.
No, I'd agree with that.
Yeah.
The Superman in its entirety, it's not easy just to pick up a random issue unless you have some semblance of an idea who the character is.
Right.
But if you just wanted a short story where you can go, so who's Superman? Superman for all seasons.
Oh, yeah.
All-Star Superman.
Yeah.
Birthright Superman. For Batman, Batman Year One.
Mm-hmm.
Dark Knight Returns, I'd hold off for about maybe 2 or 3 Batman stories before you go, well, now try this.
You read Batman Year One, then you read the Catwoman mini.
Okay.
Because Catwoman mini that's that Selena Kyle from.
Oh yeah, that goes right from her street walking days when she knew that little kid, and she's just trying to save the little kid from this hooded guy.
Right. It goes straight from it, and so you read Catwoman after that. Then I say you read Batman Year Two with the Reaper character. Nowhere near as good. But the reason I say you read Batman Year Two after that is because that gives you a little bit of taste. He's established. He's been a superhero for a little bit, not for a very long time, but he's just getting going into being who Batman becomes at that period of time. So if you were particularly in the era, that was the perfect follow-up story in my mind to Catwoman.
Gotta make sure I write this down.
And then time market it 1 minute and 40 seconds.
Year Two, by the way, has covers by McFarlane.
Cool.
And they are some banging covers.
I didn't know he did some Batman stuff.
Oh yeah,
if you drew a cover where Batman's holding a gun, you'll recognize this by being a red.
You know what? You guys go ahead for a second. I'm gonna go grab those so I can show Comics on the Mind here. You guys please continue.
I gotta see this.
No, let's go ahead.
Yeah,
so,
I haven't read
to my mind if you were talking to a middle-aged woman that doesn't read comic books and she goes, well, I don't really feel like doing the superhero thing. Is there anything else? So if everything that you've ever read, what would you start thinking of on the independent level for somebody that isn't going to be reading a superhero book, has zero intention? Would you give them a horror? Would you give them a fantasy? Is there something that comes to mind right off the bat?
Well, I'm a big horror fan, so I probably would suggest horror because that's just the kind of person I am. But when I was trying to get into indie, I won this, and so a lot of people when I won it were telling me read it, it's so good, and I didn't read it. I was just all Marvel, but. Saga.
Oh yeah.
Is there? I have the first trade and the second trade, but this got me hooked. Not just hooked This and I Hate Fairyland got me really hooked on like indie titles, you know. So I would suggest that. I wouldn't suggest I Hate Fairyland right off the back because
About Middle West.
Yes, Middle West is really good too. I still need to get the 4 through where they're at right now, but from what I read, it's
1 through 12, and I don't know what issue they're on now.
Interesting. But that's a really good one too. Trying to think what other indie titles. Finger Bang was really good. It was, you know, is that Miracleman?
Yep.
Yeah, it's back.
So first up, I'm going to show you the first McFarlane Batman cover. It's actually a pretty badass cover.
Oh my, that looks like McFarlane for sure.
Batman 423. There you even got the McFarlane in the bat signal right there.
But they couldn't finish the moon.
Well, you know. And then, so that's 423, Batman 423. That's September 88. So that was his first cover on Batman. Here,
Detective.
is it this one? It's this one, right? Yeah, there they are. Okay. So, starting in Detective 575. Now, this came out first. This is June of 87. Batman Year 2, Part 1.
Oh, wow.
Batman with a gun. Now, this isn't the first time Batman's ever had a gun. In the Golden Age, Batman carried a gun as a regular. Because Batman is a character based on the Shadow. And the Shadow carried a gun. Actually, Batman originally worked in New York City, didn't work in Gotham. So this isn't the first time he's used one. However, in this book, and here's a McFarlane cover right here. First one was an Alan Davis.
That Part 2, my old LCS wanted to charge me $30 for that.
Oh, wow.
I'm gonna tell you something that's gonna make you furious. I have all 4 issues out of a dollar bin, and I have multiple copies of all 4 issues, all of which have come out of dollar bins. So here we go, and I'll tell you just recently, some of them too. So there's your first one. That's Alan Davis. Here's the second part. That's clearly a McFarlane.
Oh yeah.
You know, really great cover. Again, Batman with a gun. You know, which is something you just don't see in the modern books. Very uncommon. But that story behind this is that is the gun that killed his parents.
Oh wow.
There's Part 3. Another gorgeous McFarlane.
That's so crazy.
And then last but not least, the final issue, again, McFarlane, Part 4, issue 578. Guys, these are real easy. If you don't know this series, it's real easy. McFarlane always does Batman covers with a red or orange background, man.
Oh, yeah.
Look for the red or orange backgrounds on Batman's. I mean, how do you not know that's McFarlane just by looking at it? You know, but if just you can flip through a whole run of books real quick. If you see a red cover Batman or Detective, slow down and take another look. Probably McFarlane. I mean, even the interiors. This was a story by Barr, Mike W. Barr. The interiors here are Todd McFarlane again. And the story behind this, just so you know, this is Batman. He's already established. It's year 2, right? And what happens is the original vigilante of Gotham City comes back. And you see this skiff here. It has a gun hidden in there. It's got some gun ports. The original vigilante killed everybody.
Oh, wow.
And his name was the Reaper. I think that was it, right? Reaper?
Oh, yeah. Yep.
And, you know, of course, the Reaper, I'm not going to ruin anything for you, but there's a twist. Get it. Read this story. Really great Batman story. Again, not as good as year 1, but still a really good story. Plus McFarlane art. How do you beat that?
Yeah, definitely.
I have a couple right here myself. So if you're somebody that wants to give some stuff to the kids and relentlessly every single time I'm at a comic book shop, I'll usually have a parent walk in going, I'm trying to find something for my kids. Do you have some Archie? I'm sure, I get it. Archie's
my
been
mom
around
made Riri when I was a
forever.
kid.
Comics from the 40s.
Archie's safe.
Okay. How about this? Give him some Usagi Yojimbo.
Yeah.
Give
Now we
him some
talking.
Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles of the new run. If you're somebody that's
Oh,
in the
yeah.
Netflix series or the DC universe, get some Doom Patrol, especially the Grant Morrison run. But
Love
if you
Doom
like Umbrella Academy, start picking up some trades, and you might have to pay a little more for the first issue and the freebie. But otherwise, that's been a great series. They have a couple. I think they're on the 3rd season, I guess you'll call it, for the comic book series. Great read. Here's another one, Alan Moore. It's horror, it's romance, and it sticks the landing. And yeah, it keeps going on after Alan Moore finished the run. But the artwork's stellar. It's from the 80s, so there's a lot of intricate detail before McFarlane hit the scene, and it became all style over substance until his substance got a lot better, and substance being a euphemism for anatomy. If we're talking horror, you can't go wrong with a little bit of Sandman, now that we have Sandman about ready to come to Netflix pretty soon, with Neil Gaiman, the actual writer of this damn thing.
Oh my gosh.
They are already working on season 2 now.
Wow.
So somebody said in the chat a little bit earlier that if you have Pride of Baghdad, it's a graphic novel. It's a done-in-one. You can get it for $20 on Amazon. But yeah, Pride of Baghdad was great. So if you like the Pride of Baghdad, put them on the trail of these little puppies. Saga is brand new. It's halfway through the storyline right now, and it just left you on a hell of a cliffhanger. But if you want to read something that's already been done, why The Last Man? Why The Last Man is going to be coming to a TV series. Who knows if it'll be any good or if it'll follow the original storyline. But Why The Last Man, it shouldn't be very expensive to produce. Just you have a whole bunch of women in it and just, one guy for most of the series until they find that person in space. It's a lot like that TV show you might have remembered that was on Fox right after The Simpsons called Last Man on Earth. It's kind of like that, a bit more serious. And the last one that I would show to somebody that is into literature, that likes Hunter S. Thompson, likes futuristic sci-fi stuff, but doesn't want to have to deal with that Star Wars bullshit, because someone that's into Star Wars and goes, where do I start with Star Wars? Holy shit, do I not have an answer for you. There's Star Wars Tales, there's Vader, there's the original Star Wars stuff from the 70s from Marvel, there's the Dark Horse stuff, there's the IDW stuff, then they move back to Marvel. So I do not know where to tell you. So instead, just read this. It's a pretty short run. It's Transmetropolitan by Warren freaking Ellis and Derek Robertson, who just lost a significant amount of weight. Follow him on Twitter, Derek Robertson. Really cool guy. He interacts with his fans. But Transmetropolitan, that is Hunter S. Thompson in the future.
It is.
Not a maker that could make whatever drugs that you could ever possibly conceive of to f up your mind. But that's Hunter Thompson in a comic book right there. Written by one of the best British writers of the era. Oh, and Wanted by Millar. If you liked Wanted, which was some assassins shooting worse assassins, or not as good as I don't know, they screwed up this story. It's the bad guys win, and now the villains get to do whatever they want. Only problem is that in Millar's version, the bad guy has no redeeming qualities, and he goes around the first issue like raping people like crazy.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, that's a thing that happened in that book. So they had to tone it down.
Yeah.
So would not work in today's era, but it's an interesting read.
The original Wanted series, man. If you read the Wanted comic after seeing the Wanted movie, you will be furious that was the Wanted movie we got. It is literally, it takes pastiches of every superhero and supervillain that exists in the big two universe, and then essentially makes it so that the supervillains won. The superheroes are the actors we remember: Adam West, Burt Ward, Christopher Reeves, and the villains run the world from in secret. And it's, I mean, you have a Lex Luthor, you have a Bizarro, you have a Joker, it is just balls to the wall insanity from issue 1 to the last. The artist in that series actually drew the characters very specifically because they wanted, if it ever became a movie, they wanted certain actors to automatically fit it. And the villain in the very first page of the book is a guy known as the Killer, and he's essentially the world's greatest assassin. And he's drawn to look exactly like Tommy Lee Jones.
Oh, wow.
And then the main character is drawn to look exactly like Eminem.
Wow.
Sadly, Eminem was like, "Nah, I would never play that. That dude raped chicks in the comic book."
Yeah.
So it didn't work out.
Well, it's kind of like in The Boys, Lil Huey. They wanted to get the same person that was from Shaun of the Dead.
Right.
Problem is, he's way too old to play the character now.
Yeah. That's why he's the dad.
Yeah.
That's why they got him to play that. Yeah. You know, you said you had said a kid's comic, and I got to bring one up. This isn't new, but if you're looking for something that's fun for a kid to read, and you've never heard of this,
let's zoom that in.
Captain Carrot
and the Zoo Crew.
Oh, yeah.
Listen, when I was a kid, I'll tell you right now, I loved to get my hands on these comics. The entire world in an anthropomorphic universe. So this is their superhero team. They ran like 20 issues. There's a crossover issue with Changeling / Beast Boy from the Teen Titans.
Oh, wow.
There's a 2-part crossover that they do like one of the old Justice League crossovers where they meet the Justice League version of these superhero animals. They're called the Just a Lot of Animals. And it was all puns. Every
I love puns.
everything was puns in this book, man. And ran only like 20 issues, but it's so incredibly fun. I think they recently did a couple of minor relaunches. They did Captain Carrot in the final arc, which was part of Final Crisis, and about 10 years ago in the pre New 52 Teen Titans, they did there's another issue there. They did a backup in the Teen Titans run, which brought them into like a much more grim and gritty universe. But you can get them in trade, I believe. If you can't, the individual issues, I find them all the time, but they're definitely worth the pickup. They're just fun. This guy right here, he's Burt Reynolds, essentially, as elongated man, the rubber duck. He's a mild-mannered cartoonist, and he eats irradiated carrots and becomes Captain Carrot. It's just ridiculous and fun, and you can hand any one of them to a kid and have no problem. Not a single worry in the world. Of course, they came out like 1980 or 81, so that's probably why.
Things are a little different today.
Right. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
A tad bit.
Do you have any more final thoughts, mind shift on anything that you might recommend to somebody that doesn't read comics, that just wants to start?
I'd say maybe get your toes wet a little in some of the Black Label stuff. Like I said, I was mentioning earlier, I love horror, and one of the series that I'm reading is The Dollhouse. And it's a pretty good read so far. I'm still catching up right now. This is issue number 3, but I'd suggest people read that. Basket Full of Heads it's really good. What else? Also, where did it go? I put it somewhere, but Undiscovered Country is a really good read. If I got it, yeah.
Especially if you like Mad Max.
basically Mad Max meets like America. So
Instead of Australia.
I just read issue number 4, and it's been twist after twist after twist after twist, and I'm a big sucker for like twists at the end of this, of a book. So I would suggest reading this. This has been really good. So
Hopefully you checked out The Bachelor last night, because there's nothing but twists. No, I'm kidding. So before we start closing out the show, Miracleman, do you have anything else that you want to show perhaps some of the public that are still watching here as we're closing in on that midnight hour?
Well, I'm going to show you guys real quick 4 different series across a smattering of different genres in comic books, all completed series, most of them several years old, pretty much every one of them available in trade or collected editions. If you want to introduce somebody to comics or want to bump somebody up from casual reading, the last one here will be a little more intense, but not too bad. First of all, if you know somebody who likes fantasy, if you know somebody who likes war or alternate history, Aerosmith here, which is a Busiek story. It came from, I think it was Image, Cliffhanger. Wildstorm, sorry, it was a Wildstorm. So yeah, Cliffhanger imprint. This series came out, I want to say 03, 8 to 10 issues, something like that. It wasn't a whole lot. Basically, the world was magical when World War I started. And magic has very greatly changed what the world is. Really great series. If you have somebody who likes fantasy, like I said, war or period pieces, or anything that's an alternate history, great series to grab. Ignition City from Warren Ellis. If you know somebody who likes sci-fi, who dug Flash Gordon, there's his Flash Gordon pastiche, or likes space adventures in any way, Ignition City. This is the League of Extraordinary Gentlemen for sci-fi characters. Okay? Warren Ellis, really great story. It was Avatar, collected editions out there. I think it was only like 6 issues. That's my go-to sci-fi recommendation. Horror, you know somebody who likes horror or stuff that really just kind of messes with your head. This is a series, I think it's from 05. It's from IDW. This particular cover is the Secret Stash variant. And by Secret Stash, I mean Jay and Silent Bob's Secret Stash in Red Bank, New Jersey.
Oh, that's their promotional for their store?
That it was a promotion for their store. And the reason it was a promotion for their store is because this book is written by Brian Johnson and drawn by Walt Flanagan. So Brian Johnson, Walt Flanagan, both people who were on the Comic Book Guys show. This one's actually autographed by Walt right there in the front. I got this actually from the Secret Stash right about when it came out. I'm going to tell you right now, this story will, if you like horror, this story messes with your head. Okay. It's about carnival freaks right around the turn of the 19th to 20th century. You know what? First issue, so I can give it away. They're cannibalistic carnival freaks. So it's got that B movie feel to it right from the front. Ooh. I loved this series. Like I said, really just mess with your head, and it was just, there was stuff that just it'll get to you. But it's a good comic. Brian Johnson, clearly a very disturbed man. And the cover here is a Kelly Jones cover, as you can tell. He did Batman Red Rain and all the vampire ones. And then the last one, and this one's the only reason I bring this one up, because this one's missed by a lot of people. If you're a DC fan, if you read Crisis on Infinite Earths and really enjoyed it and wanted to see something more, right after the Crisis, the multiverse was an absolute no-no. You were not allowed to speak about it. It didn't exist. The Crisis didn't happen. But you know who said to that? Grant Morrison in Animal Man.
Psycho Pirate.
So he takes over the Animal Man. Yep. He takes over Animal Man, or starts Animal Man off in 1988. This here is actually Archie, Betty, and Veronica. And I don't know if you caught that. And this deals with the Crisis on Infinite Earths. It has the Psycho Pirate in it. I'll show you right there. It deals with Limbo. It deals with all these characters that were lost with the Crisis. If you read Crisis on Infinite Earths and wanted more out of it, because there really wasn't a lot afterwards, this here is the best unofficial sequel to Crisis on Infinite Earths that's ever existed, and nobody really talks about to this day. People know Morrison, they know his Animal Man run, but if you have any interest in that multiverse stuff from DC, that is a great book to grab, a great series to grab all around.
It has one of my favorite scenes of the entire series when this happens. He's looking somewhere else, and all of a sudden,
oh yeah,
you can see me.
Right. Fourth wall break. Fourth wall break, which wasn't very common at that time. I mean, people didn't really do that. This was long before Deadpool was a thing. So I really recommend this series. It was one of the first things I ever tracked down on eBay was the Morrison Animal Man books that specifically dealt with the Crisis. But the early issues deal with Wile E. Coyote coming into the real universe and how he dies and has to, keep his body repairs itself, but it hurts in the real world as opposed to the cartoon universe where it doesn't really hurt when it happens. It's just a crazy series that deals with all kinds of stuff that you never see coming.
And we also have House Till the End saying Gru the Wanderer, Akira, Batman Adventures, and Fish Police. Out of all those, I've actually read Akira, all those phone book-sized graphic novels. And if you watch the original movie that came out back in, I guess, 1988, 1989, it's very well detailed and very confusing. If you read the manga, where I'm sure you could probably find it online, but otherwise you'd want those thick, giant-sized, telephone book-sized books because it tells a great story. It lands the ending, and you're satisfied. You don't want there to be more because there really can't be any more. But those were some great ones to recommend. Thank you, House to the End. So, as we're wrapping up this show here tonight, how about we go around the room and say to everybody, why don't we go ahead and promote yourself? How about we start with Comics on the Mind?
Hello. What do I have happening this week? I'm going to be doing a show with Javi, aka the Conquistador, tomorrow on the Oprah Book Club. So I believe that's going to be at either 8 or 7. Check my Instagram and I'll promote it a little bit more. But I'm going to be on there talking about an indie book, a DC book, and a Marvel book. But I can't tell you which ones. You're going to have to come and check it out.
Come on, there's just a few of us here. No one's
man. Yeah, the rewind will tell. But I'm going to be doing that. But besides that,
I'm totally going to narc on you.
But besides that, nothing else. Just being in the chats here and there and posting stuff on Instagram as usual. So that's what I'll be doing. And life.
Life. Rule number 1, kids, don't die, especially with this coronavirus out there and y'all.
Salud!
And wash your filthy hands. So, back on over to Mr. Miracleman, which I know you hate me calling you Mr. Miracleman. Just Miracleman. Kimoda. Promote yourself. What's going on over on Twitter to you?
I don't really have anything big going on right now. Come on by and check me out sometime. It's at Komodo1977. I'm always talking about comics over there, but I also got a bunch of friends that are doing different books. Amazing Gators by Chloe Handler. That's on Kickstarter right now. My buddy Corey DLG on Twitter, he's got a book called Another Day at the Office. That was a lot of fun. Daniel Kelbin, another friend of mine on there, he's got a book that's it's actually a superhero book right at the turn of the century. It's like around 1900. It's a brand new Superman level character. It's actually really cool, man. You should check that one out. And I think that's it at the moment.
All right. Well, that's pretty good. So I guess after we went through everybody here, I guess it's just left to little old me. Well, thank you everybody for coming. And as we're cycling through all the people here, Take the Time Collectibles. His name is Brian. He works right out of Phil's Comics in Broward County, Florida. Hit him up over at Phil's Comic Shop. It's this card that you see right here that I always start the show out because I seem to wind up over at his shop at least once every 2 weeks, 4 weeks or so. So that's Take the Time Collectibles. That's Brian. He was over on Raul's channel, Hialeah Comics with Javi earlier tonight. So check out that broadcast earlier in the day. And last little bit here is promoting myself. My name is Rob Worst. I do a little show called Not Near Mint. It's on my channel, Rob Worst. I do it with Lady Fantastic, Comics on the Mind, and Miracleman. Not to say that I do it. That's a little weird. But what we do over here is a little show about comic books. And this coming Saturday on Life with two YouTubers, this is breaking news now, everybody. And that breaking news is, no, you thought this was a discussion. This was a purge. But no, that's not the actual breaking news. The actual breaking news is that I will be on Life with two YouTubers, 10 p.m. Eastern Time broadcast Saturday night, and it will be the Isle of Nihilism. It's my personal way of believing how I live life day to day so I can continue living life day to day and not go completely bat-crap crazy. So aside from being on her channel, I don't really have anything coming up other than the usual, which is our Wednesday broadcast that we do every single week. And your tip of the week is we might not wind up being able to leave our homes for about a good 2 weeks. So stock up on reading material because you're going to be needing it. So if you have those big fat stacks of comics next to your nightstand, well, that might be your reading material. So bulk up. So last little bit here is, I need glasses, otherwise I can't see anything. So this is the Not Near Mint crew. Lady Fantastic checked out a little bit early, so do smash that like, do sub each other up in the chat, subscribe and hit that notification button. Subscribe to all of the hosts. You can find the host Instagrams, their YouTubes, their Twitters in the bio. And this is your Not Near Mint crew. We will be coming back next Wednesday, hopefully, 10 p.m. Eastern Time, unless one of us or all of us get sick. So let's not get sick. And rule number one, don't die, kids. We'll be seeing you again next week. Read more comics. Have a good night, everybody.
Good night.
Night, everybody.